Good afternoon and welcome back to the Mindful Model Maker. Somebody wanted to, as you know, recently I've converted this to run free rail. It's a Triang product, and underneath you'll see that I've put a pickup in the centre to run free rail. It's very simple actually. Well, what I did when I see this person ask the question, I went on to eBay, which is the place where I source most of my stuff, because if you wait long enough there'll be what you want on there. You just have to be a bit patient. Right, I've got this chassis. It's an old Triang chassis and it runs on the proper 2 rail. I mean, all I do is put wires on and it runs. So I've oiled it all up so it's good. Now, this is how it comes as a Triang product. Now, I reckon this one is off of a DMU because it does not show the shoe beam at the side, but it's very similar. So if you put the two together, you can see that the top one's got a shoe beam and the bottom one hasn't. Well, you could probably make one and just put on to make it look. If not, you can do what I did earlier on, and I cast the actual side, and then I could make one to go on a plastic. But I think in this case what I would do is just literally get a piece of foam board, thickish plastic card, well, even card if you want to, get a thick enough card, cut the shape and glue it on, paint it over, and you will have that on there. Right, so getting down to turning this into a free rail, I'm not actually going to solder all the bits on because I'm not quite ready, and I may buy a different bit to go on, but I'll show you exactly what you have to do, so it's quite easy. Right, you get 2 screws. You got like this Paxilin strip in the middle. So the old Triang ones used to run one current through one side of the wheels and the other side used to go through this. So all we do is wire off of this bit in the middle, which will be our 3rd rail. Okay, so this is what I do to start with. I mean, you can do whatever you want, because obviously this is not but it's a simple, it's probably more simple than what you're thinking. So in a little screwdriver set, I find places like Aldi's and Lidl's and things like that have nice little toolkits like this with all different bits in. So I quite like their stuff. It's inexpensive, but it's practical. Right, so you can see here what's happened. There is the wire going underneath. Bring that up a bit so you can see it quite clearly. It goes through to that contact. Now this contact here, the little spring, I remember years ago having a Triang poly, and it had this spring and I lost it over a Christmas, and guess what, it won't go without that spring. So we don't need that. I should keep it because it's a handy thing. Now you can do one or two things. You could cut that brown wire off of that Paxilin bit and just get a piece of this. I've got a packet there somewhere. Yep, I'll show you what it is. Give me a couple of seconds. Right, this is a 2mm phosphor bronze pickup strip. Okay. If you want extra on it, you can do what's been done on here, and not on here, sorry, this is on the sub. This is what runs on the sub. You can just put an extra little T-piece soldered across. It's very easy to solder to, and then that's what picks up on here. You may have noticed now on the front of the forecast sub, I've now put the Southern letter in. It's a little bit big. It's the nearest I could actually get to it. It needs to really be a little bit smaller, but I think this is one that would have run on the side of a Southern loco, like a school's class or something like that. But anyway, it's the nearest representation. Then all I've got to do is put the unit numbers in between. So when I've decided what unit to number it at, then we'll go ahead with that. But going back to this, So you can either cut that off and just put that in your spares box, because you never know when you might want one of these. The wheels won't fall off because the actual bits where the axles sit kind of come across the top a little bit, so they stop these pulling out. So it doesn't have to have this, but what it will do, I'm going to pull it to one side at the moment out of the way. If you say glue, super glue this on the bottom, on one of them I've super glued it on, then I've put a little piece of plastic over the top and then done that. Then after that you can just bend this up a bit and then round a little bit in the opposite direction, so it sits up off the cogs. You don't want it on the cogs because obviously it's short out, but you will get it. And it's got a bit of spring in it, so you have to keep playing a little bit until you get it about right. And then it'll sit on the track. And the weight, the good thing about these bogies, and why I'm now starting to use these more than the modern Hornby ones, is the Hornby ones are right, but I've got to add so much weight to get them to really pull the train along, especially if I'm using the old tin coaches, the old Hornby free rail coaches, which are tin plate. So I found that these are very good. Now what I paid for this on eBay was £15, with the postage £19.25. It runs, it's very good. It probably, I mean, how old is it? I don't know. Probably 30, 40 years old maybe, I don't know, and it's still running, so it's going to go on, isn't it? So but it's got a lovely weight. And of course I can still operate the same system as what I do with the modern one. So if you look back on my videos, you'll see that I run a bar through from the back of the coach, and then I can just attach it here and that will pivot like it did before. I haven't used one of these yet, but I can't really foresee. So that's how it goes. And then all you need to do is solder, either cut it off of here or put the Paxilin strip back on if you don't want to fiddle about, because why really worry too much? You can glue it on top of here. It just gives you a little bit less room, that's all, but it will still work. You can either just put it to the side. I want to keep it in the centre because obviously the middle rail of the Hornby free rail track is what you need this to run, so you need it in the centre. But you could just solder a little piece of wire from that to that. If you put a bit of flux on there, you can liven up that little solder blob in the middle, and that's all it's got to do. Once that touches that bit, it does the same. And it is as simple as that. Then, when that's done, you have got yourself a bogie which will run Hornby 00 free rail. And I've done it on all of these. So this is a Triang with a slightly different one. This is a Marklin one on there, and I've curved it round so it doesn't touch the cogs. There are videos of this running. And then this is my forecast sub that I made in the beginning, and this has got a homemade one on, which is made of this similar phosphor bronze pickup. It's very cheap. Buy it on eBay. I know I don't get paid from eBay, but I use it so much because nowadays, where can you go for stuff? All right, there might be a model railway exhibition and you go, and there's some second-hand bits on there that you can use as a donor for various bits and pieces. But anyway, so these bogies really are really nice because of the weight. You put that in, because the thing is with the Triang coaches, on their own they're very light. The Hornby coaches obviously are quite heavy, but when I've used the new motor bogies in there, they're okay, but I've had to put weight on top of that. If you go back to my early videos, you'll see that done. But anyway, I hope the person that asked the question about how do I actually do it, well, this is it really. It is as simple as that, because the wire's already there. All you've got to do is get that power onto the pickup in the middle and attach the pickup. Super glue is a good thing to do. Be careful on here, you can always rub this down a little bit underneath so it glues, because obviously over the years it's probably had lots of oil. It is insulated because it's a Paxilin, which is an insulator in itself. And that is it really. and then I can just put the screws back in there, and in there actually, and then the job is done. So it really is that simple to do. So yeah, I hope that helps. If it does, and you want to subscribe to the channel, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and if you've got any more comments, just put them in below, and I'll reply to them. Or if it requires me making another little video to show you, I'll do that. But there we are, for just over 15 quid, so just under £20 for the whole thing if you're going to include the postage. I've got another motor bogie which will power another one of my free rail EMU units, which I'm going to build. The next one probably being a 4-core, but yeah, I may even put this in the 4-core because the coaches I've got for that, which have got the overlays on, if you remember. I've got videos of me putting overlays on slightly bigger coaches, but they're all metal wheels. These sound really nice when that's thundering round. And of course I'll cut one up that will go up inside, and that will be the motor bogie for it. So yeah, so that's something to look out for in the future. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Hope that was helpful. Thank you. Bye now.